so I'm on break right now. We can finally start welding after all that online boring crap. So, I want to describe a little bit more in detail my, I guess, epiphany idea, whatever it means. It's really hard to explain unless you've actually been to Universal Studios. So, let me get into this Devil Mountain thing first, though. Just wanted to point out that the whole headlight phenomenon and uh, Bright's phenomenon has not gone away whatsoever. It has actually increased even more. Um, and so, on our way to Universal, far from here, we stopped to use the bathroom, and I see this truck with this big devil's head. Like it literally looked like the classic depiction of Lucifer, and it said in big red letters, Devil Mountain Nursery. And I'm like thinking to myself, what kind of stupid name is this? Like, why would you call a nursery something, that provides pretty little plants and trees for people? Call it after the devil. I just thought that was odd, so I pointed it out to my wife, and she thought it was odd too. Anyway, before class today, I was Ubering and I dropped off a passenger. I want you to keep in mind that this truck I saw was far from where I live. It was deep in Orange County. And so I drop off this passenger and I went to pull over to take a break. And you know where I pulled over? Devil's Mountain Nursery, the actual nursery. And I could not believe what I was seeing. Like there's signs everywhere and I see all these plants and I was in the nursery. So I discussed this with a friend. I told her about the truck a couple of days ago. And so I sent her a video that I'm in the actual nursery now. And people came out and started looking at me like, why the hell am I filming them? It was weird. But stuff like that, it's been ongoing for years. These quote unquote coincidences with no end in sight. And it's reached the point of where you just become completely numb to it. Like, when you get a carrot dangled in front of you for so many years with no real solid answers, you just, you either have to just accept it and let it go, or you'll just go bonkers. Like, for example, like the whole Iran Israel thing. These sort of situations have been ongoing for years where like they bring you like to the edge of disaster and then they reverse it immediately. And one might come to a conclusion say that these are benevolent forces acting to prevent this stuff. Actually, I disagree. I think this is malevolent forces that are playing games like this, that are putting people to the edge of disaster and basically conditioning them for it to be normalized. But anyway, I'm getting way off topic. I just wanted to bring that up because of all the nonsense. But yeah, Universal, the way it's structured is so you have like this central area with all the main rides, and a lot of the rides are like 3D based. So you wear like this goggle thing. Like, for example, they have like a Mario Kart thing where it feels like you're actually inside the game type of a situation. And a lot of the rides are like that. So they're based after all these stupid movies, right? Like the Transformers stuff I personally don't like at all. But like these central areas have like these strange structures. There's like these plazas, and around them are all the rides, which are mostly indoor hay. And on top of them, they have like this oculus like structure that looks like almost like a Decacube. So I'm like just in this haze all day observing all this stuff walking around. And like to me, like these are representations of like the universe, universal, right? And so that these Decacube like oculus structures, they're like these metallic canopies over these places. And they're like, that's where the main rides are, right? The main rides. And then you gotta take a bus tour to go to the outskirts, right? So let's just say that central core represents the main universe. Let's just say that all of that crazy sci-fi fantasy stuff, which is not sci-fi fantasy at all, because thoughts originate to create this stuff from somewhere. So the thoughts originated from the universe. And so that's like, to me, those main rides represent like you know, the main incarnations, or like the most grandiose versions of an incarnation. And then the outskirts is where the studios are and the sets where shows are filmed, which, by the way, I saw. Remember, I made a video a while back about The Good Place, and I saw the set or The Good Place. So anyway, those are like the outer worlds, like the underworlds, like our own planet. They are in the outskirts. They are outside of the main central core of the universe. And they're just sets where actors can play, right? These fictitious sort of imaginary dramatic scenarios, right? And the closer you get to the core of this universe, the more insane and grandiose these sort of stories become, right? Like, and silly too, like the Minions and Transformers and so on and so forth. So, and it's also interesting to know that when you take the bus from that central area down below, the first set that they show you is Back to the Future, right? So that's what they're pointing. So the central core, I guess, kind of represents the future from the perspective of the actors on the set, right? And those sets. So Doc will take you back to the future, which is that central core. I know I'm jumping all over the place, but I'm limited in time and how much I can describe this, and it's a little bit complicated. But that's what I felt out of that place. Is all of these fantasy realms and ideas, and are all representations and a miniature version of the real thing, of the real structure of the universe. And it's still a very limited idea. Like, dude, obviously the real universe is a billion times more expansive than that, but this is just like a little taste of it, right? A little taste of the idea. I just thought it was interesting that the sets were out there and the main rides were contained in here, which seems like common sense, but I don't think it was done that way just for practical reasons, I should say. I think it was done that way for spiritual reasons too.